So I think that June was the first month since the inception of L'amour et la musique that I didn't do a favorites video. And there's no real like excuse or reason, I just basically ran out of time, but I'm going to make up for it today. I'm basically doing a combined June and July favorites. It's going to be a little bit less skincare centric because very, very soon I'm going to be doing a KonMari or sort of decluttering type of video of my skincare cabinet and then an updated tour of what that all looks like. I've already done a video like that, but it has been a number of months at this point. I also thought that, I mean, this is a favorites video, but then it's also kind of the things that I'm reading right now, some of my favorite recipes that I've been making a lot. So it's kind of like favorites, but just also sort of like what I'm reading, what I'm listening to. I guess that's what my favorites videos always are. This is, per usual, my attempt at like an awkward intro into a video. So why don't we just get started? So the one skincare product in this video has been standing out to me this summer. It is Mahalo's The Bean Mask. Ever since I had my facial with Great Jones Spa in New York at the end of May, beginning of June, I've been really trying to stick to a dedicated minimal skincare routine where I exfoliate once to twice a week and I mask once a week with like a, I don't know, this isn't really like a clarifying mask. This is kind of like does everything sort of mask, so I'll use it once a week. And it's been my favorite thing to do on a Sunday after sort of a light physical exfoliation. I'll use something like the Lena Hansen Global Face Trio or the Precious Skin Elixirs Bamboo Sea Pearl Polish, I think it's called, and then I'll put this on for half an hour. I just really like the effects that it gives. I'm basically done. It's an empty product. I've been on like a huge quest to use up a lot of my skincare. I really wanted to use this up and I did. I used it every Sunday for a couple of months until I got through it, and it's a really fantastic product and I just have really been liking it. Now for my Sunday sort of drying mask, after I've exfoliated my pores and I want to kind of clean them out, so to speak, I will use the Precious Skin Elixirs Sterling Honey Polish or the Osmia Idzuki Protein Exfoliating Mask, or they changed the name of that. It's now the Nourishing Mask, I think. That's another one. I did a whole video on face masks actually, but I've really been liking the Bean. I had like a real moment with it. Okay, now we shall move straight into makeup. I actually have a lot more, I said that really funny, makeup. I have more makeup this month than I feel like I typically have. None of it is like new per se, but I guess as I solidly did sort of get into transitioning out of like my winter makeup, transitional makeup, and squarely into summer makeup, I do have some things that I've really been liking. I think a lot of this was probably in my summer beauty recommendations video, so some of this might be repetitive, but in case you're new, I've really been enjoying the Studio 78 Paris powdered bronzer. I have this in the darker shade We Evade. Kind of really only wear this in the summertime for some reason. I think I prefer to use cream products in the fall and the winter, but this is actually the only color I'm wearing on my face today with a little bit of cream highlighter. I look very dewy in the viewfinder, but I'm just wearing this and the Well People Bio Brightener. However, the highlighter that has made a reappearance in my life is the Modern Minerals Moonstone Highlight. I did not reach for this at all in the fall or the winter, but I have really been liking it for the summertime. This featured prominently in my highlighter roundup video if you'd like to see how it swatches and in comparison to other highlights. But yeah, for some reason on my skin, I just really like this in the summer, primarily. I did have a favorite lip product combo that I wanted to tell you guys about, but it's sort of like now been edited since I put this on my favorites list from June when I started wearing it. It's the Glossier Generation G matte lip tint in the color Zip, topped with a little bit of RMS Sacred. However, I don't know, like the combo I guess is still a favorite, but this, I'm gonna get like all messy doing this, but so this came out of the packaging is essentially what happened. It broke off, which is kind of a bummer. That's the first time I've had really sort of like a defective product from Glossier. My iTunes just started spontaneously playing, which is a little weird. I'll probably just pick up another one of these at some point, the next like boy brow that I order. But yeah, I did really like the color, especially with a little bit of RMS Sacred pressed over top. The combo is very, very nice, and I like it because it's like a daytime toned down version of actually what I'm wearing today, which is Charlotte Tilbury Lost Cherry. I will still wear this sometimes during the day as well, but if I don't want to be so like bam with my lipstick, I'll go for that other combination. I wanted to make this a little bit more red today, so I did first line my lips with the MAC lip liner in Cherry. I basically just lined them and then kind of smushed it around and stained my lips with it ever so slightly, and then went over with Lost Cherry, and that's what you see today. I've mentioned this like a bunch in several previous videos, but I really have been liking the Arkona Nearly Invisible SPF 30 mineral powder. This has just been a lifesaver for me this summer. I usually will set my sort of T-zone under my eyes, forehead with this in the morning after I do my base, but then I also will do a reapplication around lunchtime at work or before I commute home if the sun is still out and blazing, which is it has tended to be. You can see how much of the product I've used so far. Maybe a quarter of it. It's, yeah, I guess about a quarter, a third. And I've been using it very regularly. So I highly recommend these sorts of products for the summertime. I know that Color Science does one, I know that Eminence does one, there's probably others, but I've been very happy with the Arkona one. Okay, the last sort of makeup-y things that I wanted to mention are not like new products at all, but they're two products that I feel I have talked about way in the past, but they're really like home run Hall of Fame makeup products for me that I thought I would just randomly throw in this video. The first, I think you guys probably all know, I have been in a deep committed relationship with the Surratt Autographique eyeliner since I purchased it. I believe I got this last summer. I was actually trying to remember because the reason I wanted to tell you in this video about how amazing it is I have not had to change the cartridge in it since I got it, and it's been, I think it's been at least a year, and I use this anywhere from 3 to 7 times a week. Sometimes I'll go in and out of phases with winged liner, but I wear winged liner very regularly. So this is just one of the most like exceptional eye products I've ever used. I bought a backup cartridge, which has been out of stock on Sephora for a while now. I bought this thinking that I didn't know, I expected the cartridge in here to last like at the most 6 months, and it is still going strong. Not to mention that the quality of the brush is just, it's exceptional. These are Japanese crafted, I believe. It's just a really outstanding product. If you can get your hands on it, it's just the best liquid liner that I've ever used. Other eye pencil I wanted to mention is the Trish McAvoy, I forget the official name of this. It's basically their gel eyeliner pencil. As you can see, I will need to get another one at some point. This is probably the best gel pencil I've used. It's not like for the waterline anyway. This would be comparable to something like the Marc Jacobs highliners, I think, or, I mean, lots of brands do these. Urban Decay does them. In the eco space, I don't know who does a gel pencil. On an everyday basis, I'm really happy with the Antonym eye pencil in Noir, and I've used a fair amount of this. Actually, a really lovely subscriber sent this to me, Melody. I've been using it since she gave it to me, and this would definitely be a repurchase as well. So I use these to tightline the upper lash line, and if I want it to look really black and intense, I will definitely go for this. It's not like on an everyday basis, I don't need it to be that intense, but yeah. So these two products honestly are just really fantastic. Okay, last little thing, I think I've mentioned this before, but I have been still really enjoying the Verid Organic Botanicals Signature Scent Perfume. I keep this in like the little travel cosmetic bag that I take to work, and it's just really nice aromatherapy during the workday. An imminent purchase for me is going to be the Verid Signature Body Oil, which I intend to use both as a body oil, but also I would, after I finish the perfume, I think I would just decant some of the oil into a roller ball or a smaller travel bottle and I think it would probably have a similar effect, but I still really love Vered's products, and once I use up more of what I have, her products are very high on my list of purchasing to replace current things that I have, so you'll undoubtedly be hearing more about that as that happens. As far as some lifestyle things, which I know you guys really like, I really like talking about this stuff too. Still so in love with my red garnet, which came from a shop in Salem, Massachusetts called House Witch, which I highly recommend if you're in the area stopping in. It's just been bringing me so much intense, I mean, joy, I guess, but also just like healing and rejuvenation. For some reason, this particular one I have felt the longest attachment to since it's come into my life, if that makes sense. So I've had other crystals come into my life like lapis lazuli or strawberry quartz or, you know, you name it. And I'll feel very intense about it for a period of time, and then it tends to sort of go more into the background, and I'll use it for particular reasons when I'm feeling a particular way. But the garnet has just been something I've been reaching for really regularly, like a really, really important stone for me this summer for whatever reason. I just go by my intuition. Keeping on the metaphysical theme, I've been wanting to mention this since the beginning of June, actually, because these came into my life in the beginning of June. Now, this could be a video unto itself. In fact, I think I probably am going to do a video on just like divination generally because it's such a big topic, but this is a set of runes. Now, I had no idea what runes were actually before this happened, and this is an instance of the runes choosing me as opposed to me choosing the runes. Now, I'm sure some of you will be able to relate to this, but someone gave these to me. I had no idea what runes were, as I sit here talking about them in a bag. And I think these are black obsidian runes. And what they are, there's a particular number of like ancient symbols. Runes have a Norse history, I believe. I haven't done like a ton of reading yet on them. I just want to find out the number of symbols there actually are. It's like 24. The Elder Futhark, 24 runes. Different systems have different numbers, I guess. I don't even know how many are in this set, but they are basically another divination system. So it would be similar. You would use it in a similar way as you would use the tarot or the I Ching, or I've also recently been really attracted to Sabian symbols. Honestly, it's a whole video unto itself. I just wanted to share my enthusiasm for having these in my life. So the way that I've been sort of teaching myself and learning them is just I'll randomly pick one out in the morning and look up what the symbol means and kind of use it as a meditation point for the day. But I'm in the middle of trying to teach myself a bunch of things and explore new metaphysical, esoteric practices. So this is an area that's really lit up for me right now, and I'm not really sure where it's going to coalesce and focus, but it's very exciting for me. I'll also quickly mention, I was going to mention this at the end, but it's somewhat related to this whole metaphysical exploration. I recently had an astrological reading with Adam Ellenboss, I think that's how you pronounce it, of a website called Nightlight Astrology. He was recommended to me, gosh, probably a year ago, 10 months, a year ago, maybe less than that, I lose track of time as we know, by a viewer, Nirmala, who just recommended him very highly. I've been reading his blog for quite a while, 6 or 8 months, religiously. Really have resonated with his perspective. It's very academic, it's very elegant. He uses the I Ching as well in his sort of daily astrological forecasting and insights. I recently decided to book a reading with him. I had like particular questions about my chart. Adam Ellenboss's approach is a totally different house system in astrology than the one that I had been using before. It was almost as if some sort of something like clicked into place after that reading, because a lot of my planets changed houses and therefore interpretations. And after I sort of re-listened to the reading, I just had this sense of like, this is sort of what I've been after as far as astrological understanding. I've sort of really been in a deep dive Google wormhole of classical astrology, Hellenistic astrology, Hermeticism, all of these really sort of exciting and very new to me content areas, and I'm strongly considering either a course or a private apprenticeship with Adam's online astrology school. He's also really great interpersonally, and I felt like a strong kind of, I guess, perspective resonance with him. So that's something that's, you know, in the works. And if I were to pursue that route of studying astrology a little bit more rigorously, yeah, it would just be something I would love to continue sharing on my channel, my insights as they develop. And I'm feeling really, you know, just inspired and invigorated about the prospect, I guess. A couple of media things to mention, YouTube channels and things that I'm reading. I thought I would just like quickly show you the stack of books that I am like in the middle of. I don't know, I'm sure you all relate. I'm always in the middle of like a number of books, but my goal is to finish all of these by the end of August. French love poems, which is like a little memento that I picked up when I was in San Francisco last. Would you believe I've never read this? I know, it's sort of like blasphemy, especially for someone that's on the sort of spiritual development path as I am. So I'm only like 30 pages in, but excited to finally catch up to, you know, cultural references with that. I'm actually almost done with Danielle Laporte's White Hot Truth. This was a gift from Jeannie from Beauty Heroes when I had dinner with her in May. And I'm almost done, or no, I'm actually not almost, I thought I was almost done. I am on chapter 11. I'm getting something out of it. I mean, I think that it's, I'm very interested, I guess, in sort of a more critical, abstracted out look down on sort of the cultural approach to spirituality and such at the moment. And so this is, I'm reading it more as like a critical text, as like a piece of evidence, but I know a lot of people are huge fans of Danielle Laporte. This was actually my first sort of encounter with her. I haven't even started this, but it's The Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine Aron, I think. I referenced this in my How to Develop Intuition Q&A video, and I picked it up as soon as I learned that being a highly sensitive person was actually a thing, and I'm excited to dive into that. I don't know if I'll actually finish that one this summer. And then I've been trying to get through Brené Brown's Rising Strong for a while. Like everybody, I was very taken with her after she did her TED Talk on vulnerability and shame. This was recommended by a good girlfriend of mine a while ago. I've had this book for a long time. Actually, do you know what I do? Maybe you guys do this too. When someone recommends me a book, recommends a book to me, like forgetting how to speak English properly, if I click through, you know, to Amazon or whatever, and I like the look of it, I will usually buy it, but I don't always read it right away. So what ends up happening then is when I'm in the mood to read something, I will scan my bookshelf and I'm like, oh, now is a good time to read that. So it's kind of like, I guess it's like I sort of trust the larger timing of when is the appropriate time for me to read particular material, if that makes sense. I had a couple YouTube suggestions. I have been watching, well, she's not on YouTube really, but Style Like You's video with Melinda Alexander. I don't know how many of you have seen it, but I saw it and I didn't know anything about her. I thought it was a really well done video, and I thought she had a unique voice and perspective that I hadn't really encountered in that way. So I've been following her quite religiously now on Instagram. She's a regular Instagram story person. She has a website called Moo Mansion. And she actually does have a YouTube channel. She doesn't post regularly, but she does have a selection of videos that she's done like a year ago or so. And I watched them and I thought that it was just, you know, really nice to see her perspective and her situation. So I'm like rambling about this. Basically, I'll link below her Style Like You video. And if you like what you see, I would recommend following her on Instagram because she's been very inspiring to me in a lot of ways. The past couple of months. Okay, 2 quick YouTube channel recommendations. I'm still parsing out how I feel about one of them, which is Gigi Young's channel. I did a Instagram, I did an Instagram story where I mentioned her. She's an intuitive medium who has a pretty substantial YouTube following. I can't even remember how I stumbled on her channel. She does a lot of work around more cosmic approaches to spirituality. I'm laughing because I don't know how many people that watch my videos will think that what she talks about is like way too out there. She talks a lot about, you know, non-human forms of consciousness and life forms on other planets and galaxies and things like that, but she actually does it in a very, I think, like relatable and down-to-earth way. So if you're not into talking about aliens and Pleiades and Arcturians and all of that kind of stuff, she's probably not for you. But, you know, she is a spiritual, I guess, teacher or channel that I've gotten some positive insights from. It's always one of those things where it's like, especially now, like more than ever, what I've been going through lately, like no one person has all the answers to anything. So it's interesting to consume insights from people and take what, you know, resonates with you at the moment and leave the rest. And you don't have to totally disavow somebody because you don't agree with something that they say. That's like a broader discussion as well. But that would, I guess that's how I feel about Gigi Young. So I would just recommend her to you if you're into talking about a much more like cosmic approach to spirituality, like in the universe and the multiverse and all of that kind of thing. There is another channel in the same sort of spirituality vein that I think has some really good content on it, and it's called Science and Non-Duality. I'll link all of this stuff below, but I was very taken with the channel after I watched an interview from a Harvard neuroscientist, I believe, and he did this just really beautiful ode to our cerebrospinal fluid. And it's something, like, I have also been going through this phase where I don't know, it's like I get so taken with really beautiful articulations of how amazing the human body is. Like, there was a piece recently on the New York Times about our liver and how amazing and sort of underappreciated our liver is. And then I saw these videos just talking about how miraculous, you know, the cerebrospinal fluid is, and how miraculous it is that our body produces it and the way that it produces it and the function that it plays in our lives. And so I've just been looking at it with such a profound sense of awe, I guess, and appreciation. Kind of like cheesy, but that's where I've been at. Okay, I have several recipes I could recommend to you if you're interested. Well, before we get to those, I did also want to say I randomly picked up this bar at a chocolate shop in Beacon Hill that has the most insane selections of artisanal chocolates. And then I had a moment the day after I bought this bar where I was like, I'm adding being an artisanal chocolatier to my list of dream careers. Like, can you imagine? It would just be like working for Rocca Chocolate or something in New York. What I'm intending to do is like pick a different bar every, you know, week or couple weeks and sample like all of the boutique chocolate that the shop has. This was like one of the best chocolate bars that I've had in a long time. So the company is based in Amsterdam, made in Switzerland. It's an 80% bar. It says dense notes of forest berries and coffee. It just had the most amazing, interesting like finish to it, and I enjoyed like every square of this. So yeah, I just wanted to share recipes that I've been loving. They're both like baked goods and of the paleo variety, and they're both from the blog Ambitious Kitchen, who I think Vanessa from the Bombshell Suite was the one who originally turned me on to her, but I have in the last 2 months made her paleo chocolate chunk cookies recipe, and more recently I made her tahini brownies recipe, and both are so good. For the paleo chocolate chunk cookies, anything that has almonds or like almond butter in it, like raw almond butter, if you're using like roasted almonds, it's not an issue, but for anything with raw almonds, which that recipe does have, I prefer to lower the cooking temperature to 250 and bake for twice as long. The original recipe calls to bake things at 350. Followed the recipe to a T. I just baked them for twice the amount of time at 250. They won't brown in the same way. It's like a potentially like carcinogenic byproduct of roasted nuts, but also things like charred meats or toast or things like that. So it's not gonna kill you, it's just something to sort of be conscious of. The tahini brownies I just made like last week, and they're so good. They really do mimic a texture of like a regular brownie. They're not very fudgy, they're more kind of like a cake style brownie, but they're really good. And I've been having like a love affair with tahini as well. Lastly, music. I got to DJ several like really like amazing gigs in July. Both of them were in July. And I had to like kind of get some new music together for them. So I do have some good new house tracks. I won't bore you with like bumbling through describing them here to you, but I'll just include them on the playlist. I did also want to say thank you to everyone that in response to my obsession with jazz, people recommended Wayne Shorter to me, and I've been loving him. I've been listening to stuff of his that's on YouTube, and I'm just, yeah, whenever I'm feeling anxious, like at work, I'll put on jazz and it immediately is just very soothing. There's also a track, non-house track, that I want to include in my playlist by a UK vocalist named Cosima. My friend DJ Complexion, he turned me on to her through, he posted about it, or it was on one of his Future Beats show episodes, but I love her voice. She's sort of channels Sade a little bit, so if you don't know Cosima, I highly recommend her. She has just this beautiful, soulful, unique voice, and she recently came out with a new track called Unnamed that I've been listening to on repeat. Okay, I think that's going to do it. That was a pretty stacked video, so I hope that it made up for not having a favorites video up in June. I'm trying to think if I have any good announcements. You know, I'm at this big like turning point, and a lot is just like happening, I guess. And so there's a lot of like really exciting potential and directions with my channel that you'll be hearing more about next month, including Patreon, which I'm really excited to get up and running, and just hopefully, you know, increasingly devoting more and more time to my channel. It's almost like I was in a very cocooning phase for a while, and more, especially with the astrology that's coming up in August. It's going to be the most like potent astrological month of the year with the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse. I'm feeling like a lot of momentum and very like energized to move forward, and I'm excited to share it with you guys. So thank you so very much for watching. Coming up, I'll have my KonMari declutter video, updated skincare cabinet, updated skincare philosophy, August Beauty Heroes, which is really good, more astrology talk probably, lots of good things. I'm feeling really good about it. So I hope you guys are all doing really well surviving summer. I didn't complain about summer once during this video. Oh my gosh, it's actually really hot in my apartment too. Yeah, I'm kind of getting through it, I guess. It's not my favorite, but you know, fall will be here soon enough. So I will see you guys very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check the description box below for all the information that you need, and I'll see you guys in my next one.